members of my family had a life before me. For me, Grandma was always Grandma. I was there and she was there, and she didn't really have decades and decades before me. I was the start of her life, and why shouldn't I be? I was the great-grandson. And so I started to talk with her and just find out some of her stories, and it was very interesting to see what had shaped her into the woman that I came to love and admire so much. And then I started to talk to other members of my family and found out, like, hey, they all have their own stories. They were all people before me, which I think was it was an interesting lesson for me to learn in high school. It was great to kind of see where I had come from. And so I wanted to have my students share that opportunity for that reason, but also just to help continue some of the stories that aren't going to be as well documented as all of their lives currently are. With all of technology and everything that they have, they're going to have probably more photos than they know what to do with by the age of 16. For past generations, I mean, we all know there's those coveted family albums and letters that are stored in a firebox, or that would be the thing that you grab if you had to carry a backpack out, and that was it, to hold on to those memories. And so I wanted them to realize that importance, but also be able to carry on some of those stories that aren't written down, that aren't documented through pictures, that spoken word. So I want to, first of all, thank all of the pen pals and family members who supported them. I know it was a long process. I know there were many questions that the students asked that you responded to. And the students have been working very hard on the presentations, and I'm excited to see the rest of them. So we're going to start today with
Swirlies? No way! My grandma guffawed at Bob Haven's hilarious essay on freshman initiation. Born in 1943, Bill Pence was in the honors program at Grossmont High School. Just like Remy, will be in the honors program when I'm in high school next year. My grandpa liked to spend his free time going to football games to cheer on the Grossmont Foothillers or going to Mission Beach on weekends. After high school, my grandpa attended Caltech University, where he met his wife, Linda. Shortly after, they had 2 kids, my Uncle Bill and my mom, Molly. They now live in Oregon with their dog, Scooter. That is my grandma and grandpa at Catalina Island. So one of the main differences I've been able to observe over the course of this project is how technology and pastimes have changed. Because I believe that how we spend our free time is dependent on the technology available to us. For example, my grandpa liked to spend his free time working at the Speedy Mart, kind of like a 7-Eleven or Mini Mart his dad owned, organizing the racks of candy and snack foods. Learning he had a need for organization. Also, he learned that sales is 0%, telling the customer what you need to sell, and 100% giving him what he wants. That's different for me because I like to spend my free time playing music and watching Netflix. Now, if I were to have the technology that was available to my grandpa and his generation of the 1950s and 60s, I know I wouldn't have access to Netflix because it wasn't invented yet, but I would probably still be able to play music, just on a more acoustic level. Another difference is fashion. So I was writing to my grandpa in our letters, and he sent me a picture of him in those pants and told me that chinos, the kind with the belt buckle in the back, were really popular for guys to wear in his high school. And I looked at the pictures and thought, what? Those look like joggers, which are on the right there. And so I think that fashion tends to recycle itself. As seen here, I mean, I think those look the same. Right? Also, in the 50s and it revolved more around the men with, button-up shirts and hats and everything being popular. I think that might have been influenced a little bit by Elvis, but I don't know. But I do know that poodle skirts were very popular for the girls. Now, that's different from today because for women, I mean, you guys know the show Say Yes to the Dress? So, like, brides have their own show, but grooms don't. So I think that just goes to prove that fashion is more, it revolves more around women in our generation. Next. Another difference is how our social life has changed through technology as well. Now, our technology is more advanced with the phones and all of their capabilities. I am able to communicate in a more advanced and efficient way than my grandpa was able to by using my technology to FaceTime and text and call my friends. And in my grandpa's generation, he would actually talk to people around him, which I still, no matter how much technology I'm around, I still try to incorporate that into my everyday life. He told me that school dances were one of the few chances that he had to flex social muscles. Next. So this is a 60s dance in all of its awkward glory. So I thought, hey, we have school dances too. They're pretty awkward because he described it as awkward to me. So I think that between generations, I mean, no matter which generation it is, school dances are going to be awkward. Because it's not necessarily how much technology is around you, it's just the scenario or setting that you're in. So throughout this generation project, I was able to learn so much more about my grandpa that I just didn't know before. Like Mr. Rick was saying, I knew he was my grandpa, but I didn't know his history, I didn't know his life. And I learned that his generation liked to live in the moment and make the best of what they had. And one piece of advice that he gave me in one of his response letters when I was telling him about my bucket list items and asking him about his, is he told me, you don't worry about the little things. Don't worry about, getting asked to prom or not getting the car you wanted. Worry about making the most of your life as a whole and just enjoying what you have. And I think that really means a lot to me and is something that I will always carry with me wherever I go. You guys have been a great audience today. Thank you for your time.